How did you first become involved in the hooligan scene?
In 1983, I saw a bunch of lads in town, Leicester City Centre, and I've always wanted to belong to a group. I mean, being an Asian lad never belonged to anything. In those days, a lot of racism, a lot of fascism, a lot of Nazis, skinheads and stuff. And as Asians or blacks, we were just ostracized from the mainstream community, from mainstream society. And all it belonged, for me, it was all about belonging. And when I saw this group of lads walk past me, there was a black lad at the front leading them. And I thought, they were like a little military unit. And they're all dressed really smart, you get what I mean? With all the gear, Fila BJ and Lacoste and, Sergio Tacchini less. And I thought, wow, these guys are cool. And I wanted to be like them. So I started dressing like them because I wanted to belong. And eventually I started going football. In 1983, I started going football with my mates from the North Road. We were all multiracial gang. We call ourselves the Young Trendy Squad. And we was attached to the baby squad. It was like our own little gang, about 25 of us. And we was attached to the main boys, the baby squad. But I got into it because it was about belonging and looking cool at the same time.
Next one is, and it's an interesting thing. I'm going to make a video of it myself because you know that Asian means something different in America. You know, here Asian means kind of Muslim, Pakistani. I think it has to do with Muslim, Indian, Pakistani, something like that.
Yeah,
and
Indians, Sikhs, and Muslims.
Well, in America, Asian means Chinese, Japanese, and Korean. And then the thing is, they say Oriental here for Chinese, but that would be considered almost like a racial slur in America. Yeah. You can't say, oh, don't call them Orientals. So there's a funny thing about that. But so me knowing more what Asian means in this interpretation, the question is there's not Asian hooligans, be they, in my opinion, for my purpose, the question would be Muslim, Pakistani, Indian, anything I guess that people would lump into that category, for lack of a better way to express it. It wasn't common. There's not that many hooligans or heard about, and the way it's said, how common actually is it? And I know I've seen Indonesian hooligans and stuff. You know, I've seen other places. Yeah. But the question is, I guess, within England, within the traditional scene.
There was, in Leicester, we had about 20 Asians. They were from Sikh and Muslim backgrounds. I don't know if there's any Hindus, I can't remember. There was one Hindu in our group. We only stayed for about a year and left. Birmingham they said they had a few Asians, Sikhs mainly, couple of Sikh lads. West Brom had a couple of Sikh lads. Luton had a couple of Muslim lads, and I think it was a Hindu lad actually. So there were Asians around, even Preston North End. Up north they had a couple of Pakistani lads. But it was always it wasn't just predominantly Muslim, it was also Sikh as well, and Muslim, and maybe the odd splatter of Hindus. But it was mostly mostly the Midlands. It was a Midlands thing. It wasn't really a Cockney thing or a Northern thing, to be honest with you.
What did your parents think of it, given that you're from a strict Muslim background?
They weren't happy because they wanted me to be a doctor. They wanted my brother to be a pilot because that's what they want. They wanted the best from the children. Coming from a poor background, my dad was in the Navy, Pakistani Navy. My mum was from a village. So coming here and seeing the opportunities here, they wanted the best for their children. And we sort of let them down big time at that time. You know what I mean? And they weren't happy about it.
The next question is, did you come up from much friction did you come up against much friction from other Leicester hooligans? Or was there any right-wing element at the club?
There's always a right-wing element, but because of our multiracial club, they had to keep quiet. You get the older lot maybe giving a slight comment and stuff, and you probably got lads who are casuals giving slight comments. But when you stand your own ground and they know you got other lads with you, they sort of go quiet. They couldn't really spurt out their racist abuse, because if they did, they'd get slapped by the top boys, because the top boys were not predominantly black, but the top boy was black. You know what I mean? And the other lads that followed him adored him. So anyone giving any racist abuse, they'd get slapped, and that's why they went underground. They went quiet. They had to accept the ethnic minorities in the squad. Yeah, well, not everybody. Majority of the baby squad were not racist. There were odd elements of them in there. I wouldn't even call them baby squads. The ones that were racist, they were probably just from the outskirts, from the towns outside of Leicester, because they're predominantly white areas. We didn't have any interaction with black or Asians.
Yeah, so a little bit of an element, but never an open element that there was any friction or anything like that.
Only with the older lot who didn't understand, the old skinhead lot.
All right. You've written about some other members of the Asian community not seeing you as being ethnic enough in your book. Can you say a bit about that?
Well, they thought I was a coconut.
A what?
A coconut.
What does that mean?
Brown on the outside, white on the inside. Because the Asians in those days were just studious, or they hung around their own little areas. But me and my brother were different. We just sort of broke away from that. We didn't want to be like them because we thought that was just boring. Sitting in their own pubs or just hang around their own. There was no, just, and there's a lot of friction amongst the Asian community at the time as well. A lot of racism within the Asian community. The darker you were, the more you were shunned. It sounds weird, you know what I mean?
No, I'm familiar with the phenomenon.
Especially with the girls. If the girl was dark, they think she's ugly. If the girl was white skinned, they think she's beautiful. So skin colour mattered amongst the Asian community. And for us, me and my brother, we thought they were a bit backward. We thought, we can't be hanging around with people like that. They had no dress sense. They had no sort of, I don't know, in the music, the culture it was alien to us. Watching Bollywood films and listening to that music, it was all alien to us, me and my brother. We didn't want none of that. We wanted to be part of British society. We went to a school full of English kids, Irish kids. We was about the only ethnic minorities in school. So we wanted to be part of that community, of the wider community. You know what I mean? Yeah. They didn't like us. They didn't like us for it because.
And you're on the streets, and a lot of cultural stuff in England is going on, and England has always been the birthplace of a lot of youth cultures. Be it from the current era, the dubstep, and the past, the skinheads, from casuals, football.
Yeah.
So you're seeing it face to face, and you're like, yo, why am I going to be? It's kind of like me with my mom. Actually did the same thing. She went from Cuba to Miami, and she kind of broke away from those old ways because the hippie scene was popping. And she's like, man, forget about this old Spanish dancing. I'm gonna go see Jim Morrison, So at some point, there's a rejection of your own culture and an adoption of the next culture. But at the same time, with both me and you, we're identified as still being like you're known Asian culture, Asian, and I'm known in my scene as Latino skinhead. So it's interesting because, it's still hybrid. You're not completely abandoning. You still have your own roots, and you're standing up for your own roots. And it's a combination of cultures. So England and America is supposed to be the melting pots of culture. And this is just another example to me with the casuals thing. And then it's spreading to the United States. It's not just me. It was around. There's lots of other lads besides me, and it's been going on for a while. It's just that I'm the first one that's willing to go all the way out in the public with it and kind of spearhead the movement. But it's patterned after something like what you did. You saw other lads. You said, "Oh, that looks cool. That looks smart." And you little by little. And the cool thing is not a complete uniform because anybody can just wear something off a shelf. It's as the one video says, it's not just it's how you wear it.
Yeah, absolutely. And I wouldn't say I don't like to term the thing melting pot because then in those days you had to assimilate. You couldn't integrate. And I like to say that it was like a salad bowl. Everybody's individually different, but we all belong together, if you get what I mean. You got the tomatoes, you got the cucumbers. Whereas a melting pot, everybody's the same. They have the same attitude, the same mannerism, the same this. Whereas I said it was a salad bowl because you had the black lads there who was into hip hop and breakdance, and the white lads were into the Smiths and Simple Minds, and then it was like me and my brothers and that we was into hip hop mostly and stuff at the time, black music, but we were Asian lads. You get what I mean? So I say a salad bowl. Really,
no, I like that. I never heard that. I never heard that before. I'm gonna have to start implementing that if you don't mind. I'm gonna start borrowing.
Yeah, you can take it. No problem, bro.
You've also spoken about receiving a lot of racism during your younger days. Can you say a bit about that?
Yeah, at school it was. Well, listen. At the time when they had Enoch Powell in 1968 talking about the Rivers of Blood speech, how the roads of Enoch Powell in 1968, and from that speech, a movement group which was called the National Front. And then in 1979, you had Margaret Thatcher. Sorry, get a sour taste in my mouth when I mention her name. The Iron Lady. She came out with about the UK being swamped by immigrants, and because of these two people, racism was rife. So at school, like I said, me and my brother were the only Asian, hardly only Asian. Out of 2,000 kids, or like how many ethnic minorities? Maybe 6 or 7 out of 2,000 kids. So it was tough getting called Aki every day, getting called the N-word. Getting called a black this and that and a coon and whatever, wog and all these words. So I couldn't really fight back because there's only me and my brother. There's like loads of them, you know what I mean? You had no choice. Just take it. Then one day my dad said, look, you got to start defending yourself. So made us go karate. So at school, once I started going karate, after about 6 months, I got a bit of confidence. People started giving me a bit of stick. I used to do karate kicks and stuff and make Bruce Lee sounds. and sort of backed off. And because you've got a bit of power, they leave you alone. It's weird, isn't it? I mean, you can show a bit of strength, and they just think,
Oh, the jungle. There's nothing weird.
Yeah, do you get what I mean? And when you're a kid, you don't realise that until you get, a certain age. Okay, yeah. So people respect you because you can do a few kicks or a few punches, and think, hold on a minute, this guy, he's not these lads are not a bunch of pussies. You get what I mean? So they respect you. They don't respect you because of who you are. They respect you because you can fight back.
You served a prison sentence for stabbing someone. What was the circumstances surrounding that? If it's okay, talk.
Yeah, of course. We went in England. In Leicester, we used to have like a July fortnight. It was a holiday, so all the shops, all the factories were closed down, and all the businesses were closed down. Just for those 2 weeks in the 80s, this was. So we decided to go to Torquay, which is not far from where you are.
I know Torquay. TNT, Torquay. That's the turnout. I've been there.
It's all right. It's changed now. It was wicked in the 80s. It's changed a lot now. It's just a bit more. Yes, in the 80s. And we went to Torquay for a holiday, and we was in this club, and these guys were hassling us. They were on a stag do, and because we was 18, 19 years old, multicultural gang. We had black lads, Irish lads, white lads, Asian lads with us. It was about 10, 12 of us, but we was like a multicultural gang. And these guys were white lads from Bristol and Gloucester, and they're much older than us. We were like 18, 19. These guys like 30 odd years old, 27 to 30. They were grown men, and we was teenagers, and they kept picking on us. And I seen them picking on my mate on a dance floor. The black lad he was. And so I pulled out my standing knife, a little carved knife. I pulled it out, so let's F off, leave us alone. They backed off, and I thought, okay, that's it, it's all done. So we carried on enjoying the night. Next thing my mate said, we've got to leave now. We thought, what for? He goes, no, we have to leave now. We've got to be a bother. We have to leave now. So we vacated the club. As we left, they was all waiting for us outside, row, just there, just outside the club. There was no escape. The doorman locked the door, so we couldn't go back in. We had no choice but to fight. And the main perpetrator, I saw him, and I had a few jars. I was a bit tipsy. I just went for him. My blade, I sliced him about 4 times. I mean, I wasn't sober, so I went a bit crazy. You get what I mean? I don't know. I don't know what happened to you.
Corner. Hey, you're back into a corner with no escape.
You've got a choice.
Yeah. Okay, so that kind of explains that one. You've spoken about being the only ethnic minority on the wing. How was that for you?
Well, when I was in prison, yeah, that was tough. There was no black lads, nothing. It was just me. No Asian lads, no black lads, just me. And I had to blag it. I had to pretend to be tough. You get what I mean? To flipping, survive. And for some reason on my record it says I was a professional kickboxer. And when the orderly read it, he told everybody else, and I played on that. So I played on that. I had no choice. There was loads. I was on my own. I had to play on it. And just, because I could kick anywhere. I used to be able to. I can't kick now because I'm old now. But I used to do splits. I could kick really high above my head and stuff, and stuff like that. So I used to just pretend I was kicking and stretching and stuff. These guys
practicing, warming up, room, stuff, stretching. They said, "All right, let's not fuck with him." All right. You're later involved with the rave scene.
Yeah.
Which again seems like a scene with few Asians in it. How is that for you? So the framing of the question has to do again with the Asian thing, but for me, I'm just, we can sit here and talk all day about that because I'm into that. I didn't know you're into that. Go on.
Who was the first? Like I said, our little gang, the YTS, were the first ravers in Leicester. We joined some other lads from Blackburn. We was the first ravers in Leicester. And this rave scene just come in 1989. It started in summer '88, called the Summer of Love, and a lot of casuals were moving on, but we caught on to it in summer of 1989, just at the beginning of summer of 1989, which was just after the Chelsea game. We jumped onto this rave scene thing, and it wasn't as big as it was until 1990, 91, when it got huge all over the country. Our little gang were the first ones in Leicester, and there weren't many Asians doing it at that time. But then, like with everything else, loads of Asians got into it because there was a lot of money to be made. But when the rave scene first started, it was great because it was about having a good time. It was MDMA, MDA. It was New Yorkers. It was acid tabs and mushrooms. It was great. It was none of that stuff. I don't know what it's like now because it was a long, long time ago when I did that. You know what I mean? But it was a different thing because you think a few months previously, right, we'd be fighting with Coventry fans and Birmingham fans. Next year, dancing with them on the dance floor. We're all loved up. It was weird. You know what I mean?
Well, the Rise of the Foot Soldier captures it pretty well, right?
Yeah. Yes, he did. Yes.
So going on, you later reconnected with your Muslim faith. How did that come about?
I was in a dark period of my life. I mean, for about 18 months, I just associated myself with everybody. I became insular and paranoid because I was smoking too much weed. I was smoking skunk, purple cess, marijuana, but the skunk and the purple cess was really, it was like chemical. It wasn't natural, if you get what I mean. Because I used to smoke red seal and gold seal, hashish, and that was like a heavy feeling. You feel mashed. You just like relaxed, just mashed. But this other stuff made me like overthink. Really weird. You know what I mean? I started overthinking.
You're like tripping.
Yeah, like I was tripping because I remember I had a trip from Amsterdam with triple dipped, and I couldn't get out of it. It made me paranoid.
Oh.
For about 6 hours, I could not get out of this trip. It made me completely paranoid, and I was very, what's the word for it? I was very insecure about my friends around me at that time. I didn't trust them, and it's sort of embedded in here for quite a while. They're always trying to stab me in the back, or they're trying to belittle me or something. So I just associate myself with them. I started becoming very insular. Like I was at school. I was very insular at school because I got bullied at school for being a darkie. So yeah, I was lost. I didn't know what to do with myself in my life.
So you sought God. You sought firm ground. I know the feeling.
Yeah.
Mine. I didn't. I always had different positive experiences with the psychedelics and that. And but set and setting. I don't know if you know like Timothy Leary and that. The set and setting that you go into it with, and your environment, and let alone the environment full of people you don't trust and that. So, but I do know from my experiences in prison and gangs and all that. They say there's no atheists in the trenches. When hopefully you get some sort of center and foundation when you find yourself lost or in fear or whatever like that. So I can relate in that sense, although to a different way. But it's interesting because I do know a lot of people who've had a lot of bad experiences with the psychedelics or negative experiences and stuff. And with me, and it's interesting also that you don't like that kind of super high energy type of cannabis thing, but I do like that. And then I do like the tripping and everything. But also, you have kids, right?
Yeah, 4.
Okay, so I see a lot of my friends and other older lads and people. I have no kids. I'm not ready. I'm only 45, But
you're 45. I thought it was younger than that.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I'm 45.
No way.
Yeah, I've been around doing this since '87. I started getting the punk and skinheads in '87.
Wow. I thought you was in your late 20s. I didn't know you was 45.
Thank you, mate. I'm old school.
Ross, I didn't know that, mate. Friggin' hell, man. Just a little bit younger than me then.
Thank you. Hey, I appreciate it. But with that being said, though, so on a side question, and I was just talking about somebody else, some other young man I knew that used to be my student, and then he went to college, and I heard he was like really into weed and tripping and all that. And now I talked to him, and he's like, yeah, I was into that, and he's not that he said it was bad, but he has kids now, so he doesn't do it. So then I've heard that often. Even my mom actually said that once you get kids and stuff like that, it's different about exploring your mind and taking your mind out those kind of levels. So
that's true.
You don't trip anymore.
What happens? That's acid tab I took from Amsterdam. I had an E a couple of days later. I was in this club, and it was New Year's Eve, if I'm right. Yeah, it was New Year's Eve, and I started to come onto this E. It was coming up, and all of a sudden I saw all these people around me look like devils. So it's like the acid tab had not come out of my system completely. So I took this E, and I seen these people. I was like, that's what freaked me out. That kind of sealed it for me. I stopped doing it from that day, but I still smoked. But every time I smoked, I had that paranoid feeling in my head.
Yeah, paranoid. Right?
Yeah, but then I completely quit. That's when I became attached to my faith. That's when I stopped everything, alcohol, weed, everything. I stopped it. You know what I mean? And then, as you have kids, you don't want them to go through the same experiences you had. You get what I mean? Because you don't want them to go through that psychological experience, the bad trips or the bad emotional feelings you get when you go for a bad trip. And you don't want that for your kids.
So you got quite an interesting family history with your great-grandfather being an assassin.
Yeah.
Can you say a bit about that or no?
Yeah, he was paid to kill people with my mum's grandfather. And basically what happened was he killed around 20 people for money, and the last person he killed was from a wealthy family. And in our Afghan culture, if you kill someone, and what happens is the retribution, they want to kill the whole family. And because he killed the wrong person, from a wealthy background, big family, they wanted to wipe out my mum, who was about 3 years old then, and everybody else, just wipe out the whole family. So they had to leave Jalalabad in the middle of the night to go to Peshawar, which is across the border in Pakistan. And she's like 3 years old. And I can tell you one story. He was in a coffee shop. They call it Dabas. It's like a coffee shop. He was drinking a cup of tea, and some bloke came in to kill him. He was drinking a cup of tea, and what he did is just, boom, kill the bloke, shot him before he got near to him. He knew he was going to come for him, because being an assassin, you know these things. You're aware of your surroundings and stuff. He knew the guy was coming towards him, blammed him, bam, bam, killed him, and carried on drinking his tea like he was in the Western. You know what I mean? Like he was in the cowboy Western. Because that's what they used to look at. They used to watch all these cowboy Western films, you know, in Afghanistan. You know, these old cowboy films, the John Wayne films and stuff. And they sort of, this sort of, Clint Eastwood came a little bit after.
A little later. I got you.
Yeah. John Wayne films, yeah. Used to watch these films and used to think, yeah, we want to be like these cowboys. Just have the round mustaches and, you know, the shawls where you just throw over yourself and, you know, nice. Very similar to the ponchos, you get what I mean?
Right.
And then, you know, they escaped in the middle of the night and he couldn't go back to his land because of that incident, because there was a big bounty on his head. Do you know what I mean? So they became nomadic in the sense they had to go to Peshawar. They became very poor because they were very wealthy in Afghanistan. But it is what it is.
Here's an interesting one. You've had a bit of back and forth online with Tommy Robinson.
Oh, yes.
He even challenged you to a boxing match at one point. Can you say about that? I guess you already talked about those geezers and everything like that. We don't have to spend too much time on it. But if you want to talk about it, you already talked about it. Yeah,
Tommy, me had a little spat. He wanted to fight me in a charity match in Essex somewhere with, you know, on his turf with all his mates. I said, no, I tell you what, I'll fight you one-on-one in the ring, 2 cameras and a referee. He turned around and said, look, I'll debate you instead. I said, nah, forget Tom. What's the point of debating me? Then he wanted to take me out for a meal. And I said, look, I'll meet you for a meal with no cameras. He wanted a camera. He wanted to record. I said, no, just me and you have a meal without, you know, any recording. He wants to record. So I said, just forget it. And ever since then, I haven't really spoke to him since then. You know what I mean? I just let him do what he's got to do. You know what I mean? Because Tommy's Tommy at the end of the day.
You also famously debated Britain's first leader, Paul Golding. Can you say a bit about that?
Well, he was in town and saw him and said, look, Paul Golding's in town. I was with my wife and kids that time. I said, let's go there. Drove into town, saw him with his bagpipes and stuff, you know, playing that loud music. And I approached him and he had his big henchman with him. I said, listen, can I speak to him? I wanted to speak to him. And one of his followers goes, you're Khan, ain't you? You wrote that book. He was like, Paul, this is Khan. You want to read his book? His book's brilliant, this and that. And so I started speaking to him, and he was like a normal bloke, just like me and you, just talking normally. He was talking about football, just talking about came back from Barcelona, and he was just being a normal bloke. He didn't realise my wife was recording this at the time on the phone. And then I goes, look, I want to interview you on the phone. He goes, yeah, I'll interview you. Yeah, we'll have a little chat. So then I goes, are you ready? He goes, yeah, I'm ready. Then his mannerism changed completely. He goes, we're here. His mannerism completely changed because he thought the camera was on. He didn't realise the camera was on previously. And I just ripped him to shreds. Any argument he made with me, I just counteracted it, and he could not argue with me. And I said, look, let's talk about this properly, because you had a lot of noise, a lot of people trying to get at him. You know, the anti-fascists were there shouting Nazi scum at him and stuff, and they called him the unwashed here. And basically,
I've seen the term. Okay, I mean, so then he has like me. You talk the same way all the time. That's what I see. Yeah. You don't have a different media persona. Whereas you see, I'm clowning, acting, and the thing is, I found that maybe this is something different now, but in the past I tried to make more intellectual videos and just talk. Nobody was interested in them. You know, they just want to see me doing the wrestling style. Yeah. So those are wrestling promos. So with that being said, it sounds like this lad, he has a bit of a different persona.
Yes.
For politics, it's a bit show, and you said he might have been all right. You know, he was all right until the camera started rolling.
Yeah, until he found out, until he thought the camera was switched on. You go in there, you just change it to sort of, we're here, you know.
He's got constituents after all. Okay, so moving on from him, I kind of think well, I don't know if you described it. It says what brought about you leaving what caused you to leave the hooligan world? What caused you to eventually leave the hooligan
It
world
was
behind?
basically
It doesn't look like
there
you
was
left.
it was Hillsborough and the rave scene, because I think
Oh,
it was
Hillsborough.
building. You know, you start doing football and you do it for a little while, you start getting sick of it because it's the same thing week in, week out. You think you're getting older as well, so you kind of grow out of it, if you get what I mean. And I thought to myself, and my mates as well, thought, we can't be doing this all the time. Then the rave scene came along, so we just left that and joined the rave scene straight away. It was a different vibe, a different buzz. Okay, it wasn't a natural buzz, it was a synthetic buzz, but it's still a buzz. You know what I mean? So that's why we left it, because A, because the Hillsborough disaster, and B, because the rave scene came at the right time. And that's how we left it. And we dressed down as well, dressed like hippies at the time for a little while, and went back into design labels straight away after that. For about 6 months, we dressed like hippies.
Well,
Went back straight to design labels.
Number 15. What was the most memorable incident you were involved during your hooligan days? That can't be easy.
Arsenal at home in 1984. We were just fighting from 10 o'clock in the morning till about 9 o'clock at night, just running battles, skirmishes everywhere. It was probably the best day for me was Arsenal at home. And it wasn't exactly, I saw a lot of violence that day. It was really bad violence, you know what I mean? It was, and but it was brilliant because it was loads of us. There was so many different skirmishes. I mean, I remember the gang called the Wongs, a bunch of Asian lads. They were into martial arts, but they weren't very well dressed. They were scruffily dressed, but they were into martial arts, and they were quite tough. Every single one of them, well, most of them were tough, and they stood against about 70 or 80 Arsenal lads, the herd, in a double-decker stand.
Yeah,
the herd, yeah. We came running up the stairs, and we saw them standing against them. And as soon as the herd saw us, they were standing their ground, 7-8 lads against flipping 70 of them. And when the herd saw us making this big roar, they thought, "Oh my God, we can't beat these guys. I mean, these lot come up now." You know what I mean? So that was a good kick-off. And then outside the ground, there's this skirmishes all around the ground. You know what I mean? It was crazy. We got to the train station, there was fights there. In the city centre, there was fights after the game. There was a massive standoff after the game. You know, Arsenal fans on one side of the road, we was on the other side of the road, just running at each other, boom, boom, in and out. It was great. That was probably the best time, best sort of, one of the best. That's the most memorable. And also Coventry at home was a good one as well when we ambushed them. That was a great one because we got done before the game. But after the game, our leader was a black lad. He organised us to do an ambush. So he sent 20 of us out to bait them, if you get what I mean. So when they come running out around the corners, 200 of us waiting for them, and they just got battered. You know what I mean? So there's loads of incidences. I mean, there was a lot of hairy moments, loads of hairy moments as well. We got chased by Aston Villa for miles at Villa's ground. That was scary. There was loads of them. There was about 30 of us. That was a nightmare. We thought we was doing it. We had bricks. We were throwing bricks at them. We thought, we're doing them. The next thing you know, the bricks ran out. They're throwing the bricks back at us. We had to run, and we just ran for. It must be a good 2 miles we were running for. There was no police, no one to stop them from. It was very, very hairy. You know what I mean?
Going on. You previously said that Leicester was the first team of a mix of Asian, black, and white lads in the firm. Do you think this is still the case, or have more Asians in other firms got involved now?
Nah.
Same dynamic.
Nah, it's mostly white lads now. To be honest with you, it's not the same. I mean, Leicester still have the odd Asian lad that goes to the football lab. He's older than me. He still goes, but in general, the youngsters. They're all white lads.
Here's a good one. You previously said that your crew looked at the writings of figures from the civil rights era and was inspired by the rhetoric of Malcolm X. Can you say a bit about that? So then I won't go into my experiences, but I know quite a bit because I've been in prison a lot and stuff, and I'm well into Freemasonry. I'm not a Freemason, but I studied a lot. And then you have Wu-Tang. I don't know how much you know about like 5% Nation.
Wu-Tang Clan, yes, absolutely.
You know, so I've known a lot of those brothers, and I study with them, and I know all that knowledge. So I'm into a lot of that kind of stuff, and obviously they have a completely different view of Al-Islam because arm, leg, arm, head. You know, as Allah and man as I, self, Lord, and Master. So it's considered apostate. Just like I like Sufi. and Sufi is considered apostate. So I don't want to go too much into my, because man, you could go into 2 hours on that. But and talking about Malcolm X and some of the writing from the civil rights.
Well, Malcolm X was basically anti-establishment. He was against the thing. He was standing up for rights for the black people at the time, the ethnic minorities. I really felt at that time the police were really sort of they were racist. A lot of police were very racist, and he used to always pick on the black folk. You get what I mean? So Malcolm X was against the police and stuff. So we liked what he said. Basically, you know, if someone puts a hand on you, take him to the cemetery and stuff like that. If anyone lays a finger on you, just batter him. You just don't give him a chance. And things like so. Just my mate. I'm not gonna say his name, but he's a black lad. He got me into it, all Malcolm X stuff. And I wasn't a practicing Muslim. I didn't even know who Malcolm X was until he got me into it. I knew he was a civil rights activist, but I didn't know much about him. If you got him from school, but he got me into it, in his sayings and what he was about. We just got heavily into what he was into. It was brilliant. Some of the sayings he said was like, yeah, we can relate to that.
How did your book Memoirs of an Asian Football Casual come about?
I saw the rise of the EDL on terraces in 2009. They were recruiting football casuals to fight against extreme Islam, which I'm against anyway. Most of the brothers I know are against it. There might be the odd element who are extreme, but we don't know who they are. But the majority of Muslims that live in this country are against extremism. Now, we saw the EDL rising on terraces. I saw it, and they were against Muslims in general. So I thought, you know what? How am I going to educate these lot? I used to be a football hooligan. So maybe if I wrote a book explaining that alone, that Muslims are part of society, and that I used to be like them, they may change their views. And that's how I wrote the book. And I got in contact with a guy called Cass Pennant.
Yeah, Cass, ICF.
Yeah. And he was bizarre. He was like thinking, hey, why are you contacting me for? Because look, because you're an ethnic minority, so am I. And I'm writing this book because I want to talk about being an Asian casual. So he goes, oh, and you know what I mean? So he just took it, you know, and he loved it. But it took him 3 years to produce the book, to publish it, because every person closed the door on it. They didn't want to know. Milo Books didn't want to know, and all these Blake Books, is it? I can't remember. Blake Books, I can't remember what's called now. They didn't want to know, and some other book publishers didn't want to know, until one bloke said, I'll publish it. And that took 3 years for him to do it. He hung on to it for 3 years. I let him hang on to it for 3 years, and he got published in 2012, and it went straight to number one in Leicester. And it was a very popular book, even though the first edition was basically a draft that they printed out. It wasn't the final edition, so I wasn't happy about that because there was spelling errors in there. There was like mistakes with the paragraphs, and there was, you know, it wasn't proofread. Well, now I already proofread everything, so now second edition come out, which has been proofread, and it's a proper edition. But yeah, it came back. You know, a lot of people liked it. They said it was, you know, a different book. It was unusual, not the usual book. We went to this town centre, battered them, came home. Next we went to another town centre, battered them, came home. It's not one of those sort of books. I admit I got ran. I admit I got beat up. I admit we got, you know, ran by other firms. Even though some of the Babe Squad didn't like me saying it, but the truth is the truth.
The book's now been made into a play. How did that come about? And what's it like to see your writing come alive on stage?
Wow, amazing. Basically, this guy called Dougal approached me on Facebook, said he wants a story about Leicester. Because we won the Premier League then, in 2016. Leicester won the Premier League for the first time ever in our history, football, 132-year history. So they wanted a story based on Leicester. And that football lad going to Leicester, and he read the book and he loved it. He took extracts out of the book, which resonate now. You know what I mean? From the 80s, what resonate now with the prejudices and the racism and the community stuff. And basically, when he'd done the play, it was the exact same as my book, and it was amazing. I mean, 2 actors between them played about 70 characters, and it was.
Yeah, I saw the videos. If you want to plug them, there's at least 3 different videos talking about it. I saw the director. I saw you walking with the actor in the streets.
Yeah.
There's like 3 different videos. How many total videos are they promoting the play?
There was just one big one, but there's been other videos where the BBC have interviewed me and the regional news have interviewed me about. But the main one is the Curve Theatre one. Oh. Yeah, it was nice. An amazing scene on stage. Was brilliant. I mean, the audiences every night would stand up and clap. There were standing ovations every single night. They've never seen that before in any play. They had a broad range of people, from the elderly to the young, white, black, brown, people from outside of town who were middle class,
Wow.
who would come into the city centre to watch this play, and people from the ghetto would come. It was just people from all walks of life came to watch this play.
Well, I intend to read every hooligan book, and I've seen almost every hooligan movie. And then I this is the first hooligan play, so it'd be my honor one day to come see you, and I'm gonna get to.
You know what? Hopefully next year they'll have it again. So if they come, I'll definitely invite you up.
Last one. We made it number 20. Finally, what can we expect from you throughout the years to come?
I can't say too much at the moment, bro. I've got to keep my mouth shut. I've been told sworn to secrecy, but there's something bigger in the pipeline.